Good afternoon, everyone. Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Twitter space ahead of round 18, or should I say round carnage. It is looking like it's going to be a tough week for many people, and I'm joined by my usual co-host. I didn't think he was going to be making an appearance today in Tim. Tim, mate, how are you?
I am several drinks deep, my friend.
How's the lunch going for you, mate?
Yeah, it's going pretty well, pretty well. I've had a lot of espresso martinis. I am absolutely charged full of caffeine. But yeah, no, it's been a good afternoon so far. I just saw the notification come up, so I thought I'd quickly jump on and say hello to everyone, but I'll probably jump off in a few minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll
Any
let
more
the
news this afternoon apart from anything happening?
So yeah, not too much other sort of like big news. Obviously, we heard about Tom Green before, and obviously we already had all
Tom
those.
Green! Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking change my tune.
But yeah, then you've got Seamus Mitchell got dropped for Hawthorn or managed for Hawthorn. So if anyone's still got him, Jack Zeeble is out as a sub. I don't know if that affects too many people. And then you've got in the final game Ryan Marich, who a few people may have had on their bench for this week, has also been dropped as well. So a couple of sort of rookies that have been dropped. But Tim, mate, what are your trades looking like? Do you want to let the people know what you're looking at doing before you head off?
Sure. So Sheldrick was locked in from last night, so I couldn't really change that. But I initially was going, what was I doing? I was going to bring in Jack Steele so Angus Sheldrick and Darcy Cameron out. And I was going to bring in Jack Steele and Jack Bowes in defence, but made a bit of a change. So I'm going to bring in so Tom Green's going out instead of Darcy Cameron because I figured that Darcy Cameron might be back next week. And then that allows me still to get Jack Steele, but it allows me to get to, so I've been tossing up between LDU and Jared Lyons, but I think I'm going to lock in LDU. I am very, very concerned about the tag this week, but what I'm more looking at is next week, because I'm still going to have Windhager on field, so I'm going to have to upgrade Windhager next week, and that, I'm just conscious of I don't want two shit players on field, so I think LDU on field next week will be. I think it should, he might even hold for the rest of the year, right? So long-term safety.
There was a quote actually from Sam Mitchell that said that he doesn't want Finn McGuinness playing as an inside midfielder and he prefers him on the outside. So that sort of makes me think maybe he's going to go to Sheezel this week, if anything. So he might get away with it.
What might Nash do then?
Nash could go head-to-head with LDU. That's the thing. So, yeah. We'll have to see anyway. So
look, it's a bit hairy for this week, but I think long-term is the best option.
Yep, beautiful. What
about you, mate? What are you doing?
I'm looking at going. What am I looking at doing? I'm looking at going Tom Green to Sicily and going Sheldrick to Ivan Soldo, which is a bit of a different one there. Solo ruck for 3 weeks. He's going to be my 23rd player, so he's not actually going to be on my field next week. So that's obviously the thing. I'm just getting the points this week.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's talk Soldo, right, for the people listening. So what has he done before, Soldo?
Well, so he obviously hasn't done a great amount. So this is just more like just trying to get some points on the field. He's got the West Coast matchup, which is great. But he did play one game early in the year, and he scored a 72 from just 57% game time. He had 11 disposals, 5 marks, 2 tackles, 14 hitouts. So if he can at least even just do like an 80 or a 90 in a game for this week with a good matchup, then that's obviously the hope.
You'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, so that's what we're aiming for anyway. So going for a bit of a different pick. So
look, here's the good thing, right? Like, this week is going to throw up a lot of. It makes it interesting. I'm really interested to see, how everyone goes this week with the balls.
Yeah, exactly right. There's so many.
It's harder to talk than I thought it would be.
Yeah, there's plenty going on, mate. Look, sounds like there's plenty going on in the background for you as well.
Yeah, I've got my AirPods on, which are always terrible for these things, so it's probably picking up heaps of background noise, so I apologise for that to anyone listening.
Oh, that's all good, mate. But we've also got Bindi has joined us. Bindi, mate, how are you?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, look, I'm doing pretty well.
Loving the headphones.
Excited.
Loving it.
Mate, you sound
Yeah, look, it's pretty cool what a little wire can do, right? I don't think I've used wired Apple headphones for a few years, but yeah, they come through really nicely. But look, this is one of the craziest weeks, well, probably the craziest week of the season so far, I would think. So certainly when we've had a lot of teams that have, let's be honest, starting to all look the same, a week like this might be good to change things up a little
exactly right. And there's plenty of bullets going around. People are going in different directions and looking at different targets. But how many bullets did you get hit with this week, mate?
I've been hit with 3, unfortunately. So I've been hit with the Tom Green. So I believe Tom Green's owned by 80% or more of the top 100.
Yeah, I think 80,
so very
89%,
popular.
I think.
There you go. Yep. Was also hit with Sarong. So he's a bit like less popular, but I still think he might have been around 40 or 50% of the top 100. I'm pulling these stats just off the top of my head from last time I checked. And then the other one was Darcy Cameron, right? So yeah, 3 so-called premiums out this week. It's not
Sheldrick
ideal
as well.
Yeah, I do have Sheldrick, but yeah, was not going to rely on him on field. But sure, it would have been nice bench cover actually, because yeah, the rookie I'm relying on this week leaves me a little bit nervous. But look, everybody's in the same boat, so just got to do the best that we can.
Yeah, and I know
Hey, Bindi, let me just jump in, right? Because I'm probably not hanging around too long. I just want to get your thoughts on the LDU trade. And Jep, I saw Jep was listening as well, mate. Lots for you to jump on if you can as well.
I think about the LDU trade.
I'm thinking LDU or Lions. I mean, I'm going LDU because I think long term it's better.
I'm not convinced Lions is going to hold his spot for the rest of the year. To be honest with you,
it's more.
I think he might. Look, the thing is, though, 1 week plays, they're very dangerous. Who's to say in 1 or 2 weeks' time we don't have another similar situation, and you don't want to have a Jared Lyons bullet on top of some other players.
And Tim, because you've got Windhager still on field next week, it's probably a good thing to go an LDU, lock that in, and then next week you can go your Windhagers up to whoever, Whereas I guess Lions is probably a play for those coaches that have got a rookies off field, and they're probably maybe going, if they can go like a Tom Green up, but they need to go like a Darcy Cameron down, they might be able to go like Cameron down to Lions and then Tom Green up or something like that.
So that's actually a really good question. So there was, where is it? Oh, yeah, sorry, boys. If the background noise from me, I apologise. I'll mute as much as I possibly can. But someone was asking about the trade priorities. Like, for all the bullets, what priority should we be trading them out? So I'll put myself on mute. Why don't we go through that first of all?
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, okay. So I think the thing for me is when it comes to outs, you have to treat suspensions differently to injuries, right? A player that's injured for 1 week versus a player that's suspended for 1 week, while they both are out for, what sounds like 1 week, the thing with a suspension is they're going to be back, right? Unless a freak accident would have happened where, maybe they got injured at training or something. But when it's a player and they're like, yeah, this guy should be back in a week, there's so many times it just doesn't happen. So in my mind, once you've got the 3 bullets, let's say you had like a Sarong and 2 in... Oh, sorry, what was that, Tim?
Saying they might be back, but they might only be at 80% as well.
That's the other thing, right? So there's 2 areas of risk there. Coming back at 80% is not ideal either. But look, once you get to let's say you have 3 bullets, Sarong for me is the clear one where it's like, hey, I think this guy is worth keeping. If anything, we know that he's had a niggle for the last 2 months or so.
It's a good thing he's got a week off in a way.
Well, it's not a good thing for our scores this week, but it could help.
Obviously, if he is carrying a lingering thing, then obviously it's good for him to recover. But obviously, yes, it comes at the worst possible time for all us fantasy coaches that have got him. I don't, but I've got him in other formats, and I'm potentially copping donuts in other formats because of Sarong being out. But
Sarong's number 1.
Yeah,
the one you want to hold.
Yeah, so he's bottom of the list, I think.
Very true. Yep. So then I guess it comes down to, the likes of Tom Green, Darcy Cameron, Hayden Young, those sorts of players, right? So even Sheldrick, if we want.
And Green.
I'm.
What
He
was that,
said
mate?
Let's
Darcy.
try and split those.
Yeah.
Darcy Cameron and Green. Sorry, guys. I know my audio shit.
So there's two things. It's an interesting one. So Darcy Cameron, we believe, is out for 1 week. So let's say 1+ weeks because it could end up being more. Tom Green, GWS came out today and said it's a 3-weeker, they believe. So clearly Green's out for longer. So I think he is the higher priority trade out. The thing I don't mind about, like, I'm personally going to be moving Darcy Cameron this week, and one of the reasons for it is because Darcy Cameron, he's not going to be a top 6 forward anyway, right? So it's kind of a trade that a lot of us were probably considering doing before the injury. But look, Tom Green is certainly a higher priority than Darcy Cameron.
And also being worth more, you might be able to do more. I mean, I know I changed my trade from Darcy Cameron to Tom Green because I'm able to do more.
Well, that's the other part of it, right? So I think you have to look into the amount of value that you're holding on your bench for a week, right? If you're holding $1.5 million worth of premiums on your bench, that's not ideal, because if you traded one of those out as opposed to moving a Sheldrick, you might be able to get more points on the field this week. So that's something to consider too.
Yeah.
It's not much use me saying that I'd trade out a D-Cam before I trade out a Sheldrick now, though, given Sheldrick's locked out. But yeah.
I think
Hey, boys, sorry, I'm going to interrupt just for one quick second. I just saw Warnie jumped on, and I just want to do a quick shout out to Warnie from me and Bales as like the AFL fantasy fanatics. So Warnie, at the Traders event last night in Perth, got us up and kind of did the thing about the AFL Content Creators Cup, and I just really appreciate that, obviously, in terms of Infinite Wealth being a sponsor as well. So thanks, Wandog.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, okay, I echo those same things. Thanks, Warnie, mate. If you did want to, I know you're probably busy, Warnie, but if you did want to jump on and discuss all the bloody carnage going around, feel free. I know Jep, Louis, Dos, Liam, Rids, if any of you boys want to jump on as well and discuss what's happening and answer some questions, and feel free to jump on as well to send requests through. So
it was good seeing everyone last night as well. I know AFL Hugh was there, Jeff was there, all those kind of guys. So, yeah, good on you. And I won't be there tonight, but I hope everyone has a good night tonight.
Yeah, no, looking forward to show number 2. But yeah, I think for me, it's Green's for me the number 1 trader because he is going to be out for, again, even if it's 2 weeks, it's a hamstring, and we know they can linger, and they're not normally 1 week. So I think he's one. I think for those people that got Young, I think he's probably up the top as well because he's out for, I think, 2 to 3 weeks as well with that injury. And then I think that's when you get to, your Darcy Camerons and guys like that. So, I think that the ones, as you said, Vinny, before, the ones that got the injuries, you trade them first, and then you keep your Sarong, and he's the last priority. But, hey, if you've only got Sarong and Sheldrick and you're dodging all the other bullets, then yeah. You obviously can trade Sarong there. But we do have the Warn Dog has jumped on. It's just saying connecting. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. The Warn Dog's on. Warnie, mate, how are you going?
Hey, Bales, good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Plenty of carnage happening. Roy was on the money last night. He said that there was a source about the Tom Green, and it came out, unfortunately for us, to be true.
Yeah, you shouldn't really doubt much of the stuff that comes through Roy. He doesn't really go with anything that's not true, so he's pretty happy with that in the sense that it was correct, but it bloody sucks for us. So that means that, he's a priority, as you said there before. I think you've got to move on. So it's it obviously gives you the opportunity, hopefully, to get to a big dog in some way, but it's going to be crazy to see how teams are going to manage it and see what they end up doing with this move, because this is, what I see as a little bit of a thing is good for the game, with everyone probably going in some different directions to see how that'll look.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a sort of, it spices things up. I know that's we talked to Jeff about that last night. He was saying it could be good and people going in different directions. But I know that with your trades, Warnie, unfortunately, you were locked out of your trades last night. You had to make both the moves last night. So having Tom Green, what are your plans, and what are plans for some coaches out there that have maybe got a Tom Green but they've already maybe locked in their trades? What would you advise doing?
I've got to stitch up. I'm going to try to grab Roy's phone and see what time he actually received that information, because if it was before the first bounce, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. But, so I locked in last night. Unfortunately, it was going to 2 shocking moves in hindsight of Mills and Caleb Daniels. So got ordinary scores. Bont actually scored more than the two of those guys combined, which also hurts when you're in a matchup against Calvinator who's got Bont. But anyway, so I was going my Sheldrick and Johnson out, so I was pretty lucky carnage-wise that I didn't really cop anything else. So now I'm just reversing or editing the trade to go, instead of Johnson being out, because then he can play for me for Tom Green. So I'll just go through that, which means that I go into the week with a fair bit of coin. But obviously, if I could edit those trades and didn't have those locked in, I'd be able to do some much preferred trades, which is just very frustrating anyway. It is what it is. But as for advice, I guess work out what you just need to prioritise who you think is going to be out longer, or as well who you think about next week's trades as well. That's the other side of it with what you might be able to do with that. So it might be that you have to play that rookie on field, which I reckon there's going to be people in that position this week anyway. If not, some people getting donuts too, which will be very interesting to see how that comes out after the round, to see what that ends up looking like. But I'd be saying that my moves would be just making sure you've got warm bodies on field, but still don't ruin your team for it. I know there's some crazy names being thrown out there by a few people, even Calvin, which I don't actually hate his Soldo idea.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at going down that path as well, but he'll be my 23rd player, so he won't actually be on field for me next week.
So and that can be a good sort of play, but you just still got to think about next week and a couple of weeks' time, that sort of thing. But I think Soldo could work for a 2 to 3 week play, especially while Nank's out for those 3 weeks. But just really think about that, prioritise what you can do, and getting the players that you want. That's the other side of it. So you don't really want to be just doing something for the sake of it, is how it is. So so a green one, if you can reverse or edit that trade that gets him out, I'm okay. Well, I'm going to need to take that coin into next week and see how that goes. But obviously that price, it's a simple one. It might be as simple as there's Jack Steele for I reckon that'll be a really popular move if you have that trade there ready to go to get rid of Tom Green to Jack Steele. But again, it might be nice to go to a big dog, but I still feel like I'd be chasing that value, because the coin that you can be, not that you save a lot of coin, make any money out of going from your Tom Green down to Jack Steele, but I feel like that's going to be the way to play it. That's how I'd play it anyway.
Yeah, Tim?
And big matchup this week as well, mate. Fucking Warndog versus Calvin in the Content Creators Cup.
Yeah, it sucks. Massive stitch up this week. It's going to be shocking. I just hope that I don't have to cop the green vest this week, but I'm glad Calvin's got it for this week while we're over here doing the shows, because it's good when he's singing his song and he's actually wearing the green vest.
I'll go, actually.
All right, boys, I'm going to bail out. I'm going to leave you guys all to it. Just want to say, good luck to everyone with all the carnage, and best of luck for the weekend.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. And I might see you Saturday night, but we'll chat as well on the Twitter Space on Sunday.
Yeah, we might be doing a varsity night, Saturday night. So, any fantasy coaches that are looking on Saturday night want to come to varsity in Northbridge, come hang out, watch footy, and talk foot fantasy.
Yeah, beautiful. No, thanks, Tim.
All right, ciao, everyone. Bye.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. Now, I'll quickly go to the matchups, actually, Content Creators Cup for this week. So, round 18, we've got, as Warney said, Warney and Calvin. Then you've got Jake from Hat Chat up against Roy. Then you've got Louis is up against Luke from Ball Boys. Sanch is up against Jep. Nathan from Hat Chat's up against Zave. Doss is up against Holmesy. So pod head-to-head there. I'm up against DC, but my season's cooked, so it doesn't matter for me. Mitch is up against Junk Time Janners from Break Even. Stato's up against Doe from Break Even, and then Miller Time is up against Tim as well. So some good matchups there, but my season's cooked, as I said. So, any other talking points you guys sort of want to go over at all?
Not so much, but if there's anyone here that came along last night, thanks very much. It was good fun. We're looking forward to tonight as well, which will be great fun watching the footy. It should be a good game, I reckon. D's and the Lions, then going into the show, and we've just actually had an afternoon with Will Schofield for his Backchat podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had a bit of a session with him for that, which is cool. So, and he's got his own beer, so we're half a dozen stubbies in now, and that's Probably we need to be smart about this, which has been dropped back off at the hotel, and getting ready to go over to the Campfield.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'll be there, so looking forward to seeing everyone there tonight. Should be good fun yet again. So we'll get into a couple of questions, and then Warnie, whenever you need to head off, obviously just then you can let me know, and we'll see how we go. Hang on, Keys. What's this? Oh,
Hey, Bales, did we want to talk about captains?
okay. Yep. Well, it's funny because there's so many coaches that have already taken a VC. Did you have the VC Bindi last night on any of those players?
I did, but there's quite a few really, really good options this week for anyone that doesn't own Tim English or didn't put the VC on him.
Yeah, and Warnie, you had the VC on English as well, didn't you?
I wanted to, but I had to toe the company line and go with Errol Gould, and Calvin made me. Otherwise, my life would have been hell. So, which was a good option anyway. So you're taking that 126 that he had as well. So if you went Bont, you would have taken it. Obviously, English, you would as well. So I reckon there wouldn't be a lot of people without that. But the easy thing for anyone that hasn't taken a VC yet, and whatever you're doing, you've got a really easy one to roll into with Timmy Taranto, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I had a look at the updated stats for who used the VC. So English was sitting at 10.9%. Goulden was about 8.9%. I think Bont was sitting at just over 5%. So I thought the English one would have been a little bit higher just because of the ruck matchup, Hickey being dropped. But it sort of looked like the VCs were spread a bit this round. But who do you boys like for the remaining games? So I'm just off Tom, and you got maybe a Lockie Neal tonight as a bit of a different one. Then you got a Dacos, which I don't know if he gets a tag by an Aish. Brayshaw with no Sarong. You got.
I think Noah Anderson against St Kilda could be a giant game. Especially, I mean, he already played them this year for a 159. And yeah, I could see him going real big. He's a bit more of a unique pick if someone was looking to go against the crowd, maybe to gain some weight.
Yeah, well, I saw Kara, who's in 11th, went Noah Anderson when I was looking at the VCs, which is well, good luck. I think he'll go big.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I think he'll go. It's a good matchup. So it's not a bad VC, that's for sure. Then you got Dawson if people want to roll in a late sort of VC there. Is there any other guys that you boys would be looking at as a VC, with obviously Taranto being that captain on the Sunday afternoon?
James Sicily.
Yeah, he could be one, a good one. Warning, anyone that you can think of?
Yeah, I don't mind the Sicily one. Obviously, there's no overlap of games on Sunday this week with only 2 games on, so it would work. Obviously, you'd need to have that donut to be able to make that work as well, though. So much is obviously about timing what you do with your VC to make that happen. But Sick Dog I like. I think Jordan Dawson is a good use of a VC. There's some concerns there because of the stats with GWS, but that's what a VC's for. He's got a ceiling, as we know, so he'd be nice to go with. But he's probably the one sort of sitting up there that's to come. It's a free hit. That's the thing, because of the confidence that we should have, I guess, in Timmy Taranto this week, is that, it should be a go with who you like as a ceiling. That's what VC is all about. So, I don't even mind Zach Merritt on Saturday night. I think that could be a nice one.
I was just about to ask you about your boy Merritt against Geelong down in Geelong. The only flag that I'd sort of like to get your thoughts on is, do you think he gets any attention from any of Blitzarves, Atkins, or O'Connor at all?
Yeah, potentially, and that's the thing. But I don't know, the way he runs and moves, it may not totally screw him over. So that's hopefully the thing. It's, again, a VC. That's the idea of it. I'd probably have that concern going into a captain in him, but I think that's what I don't mind about Zach, that he can probably hit those numbers and probably get you a 120 and that you can take. But, if I was really choosing, though, I'd be VCing Sick Dog. If I had, if it all lined up, that'd be the one that I'd be going because of that absolute ceiling that he's got.
Yeah, I think he went.
Just one comment on Merritt as well. So I think we see the Geelong matchup and go, damn, that's going to be a hard one. I'm not going to go him captain, but I was just looking at DFS before. 59% of inside midfielders are beating their average against Geelong in the last 10 matches. Okay. So really not too bad of a matchup.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Well, if he doesn't cop attention, then as Warney said,
It's
he can hit those
different as
numbers.
well. And the arrogance of Geelong, who are managing players like Tui and Radigalia, they're calling it as well. Not sure if Radigalia is totally managed, but yeah, they're doing that and going, come on, this is the Bombers. So you're treating them a little bit poorly on their first trip to down to GMHBA for a long time.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't want to lose to the Bombers down at GMHBA, because then, as you said, it's going to look really silly with resting all those players. But we'll have to see what happens anyway with that. But yeah, so it's going to be a very interesting week, that's for sure, with captains and trades and anything. But let's get into some questions that people have sent through. There's plenty sent through. So if you are watching on Twitter or tuning in over on YouTube, then send through any questions and we'll get to as many as we can in the next just over half an hour or so. So Jacob says, thoughts on Sheldrick and Green to Steele and LDU, Warney. So LDU is a pod, got the Hawks, Saints and West Coast the next three. That's why Jacob's looking at him. So what are your thoughts on those moves?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Although LDU, there might be that little bit of a flag tag there, or tag flag, whichever way I want to say it, with Finn McGuinness possibly. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think he's at a price where it would be a move that you can make if that's what you can get to with those there. So I'm okay with those moves. I think obviously Sheldrick's locked in, so you can edit the other side of that. But those two ins look nice, especially Jack Steele. I think it's a pretty safe and easy one. And I know some people like to take on popular dudes because he's going to be popular this week, but it's there's a good reason why he's popular. I think sometimes we can get a little bit silly with trying to have a point of difference. There's a reason why players are going to be popular.
Yeah, well, I love the fact everyone's bringing Steele in for 800k, and I paid 937k for him, so that was fantastic. But yeah, just to follow up on that one, because Tim was talking about it before, he's going LDU, or he was looking at Jared Lyons as well. So what's your thoughts on Jared Lyons as maybe a bit of a short-term play there? He's obviously scored well in the past.
He can, but I'm just worried where his place is in their 22. Is this the last game he plays? No, I'm not sure. I couldn't back him in because I wouldn't guarantee him being there next week. When or if Dunkley is back next week.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's probably a little bit too risky with that one. James says, Will Day or Wanganeen Millerabindi?
Oh, I wouldn't be touching Will Day with the shoulder concern. That's pretty clear for me. Also, Wanganeen Milera, something that'll really make you want to grab him is look at his run coming up. He's got 5 straight at Etihad, I believe, or Marvel Stadium rather. So yeah, I love that pick, to be honest with you.
I'd agree. I'd go Wayne Emira there. Tim, Steele or Sicily, Warning? So you're paying up for the sick dog, or you maybe saving a bit of cash for Steele?
Yeah, this has been a popular question. I'm very torn on what I'd be doing. I think it is Jack Steele for me, just for the value that he is. But sick dog, that ceiling and what he can do, it's very tasty. But I would just go a conservative, safe bat, straight bat with me going Jack Steele. But then again, I'm coming from that position of my team's pretty rubbish, and therefore value is really important to me, which you can probably say sick dog is some value because of where his break even is and what he's done, but it does come with a bit of risk because the bloke's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and we might see him out again. Who knows? He might also sledge Tasmania again, which has still made me not happy about that.
Yeah, not great from the sick dog there. Biddy, are you going the value like Warney there, or are you paying up?
Depends. I know that's such a cop-out answer, but look at because obviously you go for Steele, you'll carry an extra 120k into next week. Just consider what you could potentially be doing with that extra cash. But look, if you're already at the stage where you've got a complete, or no rookies on the field, then I think going for the extra points in Sicily could make sense. But again, just think about what you can do next week as well.
Yeah, I think Steele also has a pretty good recent history against Gold Coast. So that could be he could put up a big one again this week.
Scary though, maybe because of the change of coach. Who knows how that works? That's an interesting conversation. We had that conversation a little bit over a beer today, talking about what happens when there is that change of coach. Like we have the consensus a little bit that a lot of players probably get to play their natural position more and probably role playing isn't possibly there as much as what there might be. So it could be a pretty free flowing and open game. So, so then for a Jack Steele, fingers crossed that just means that he's good to go with that, because they may not be going with that. But who knows? The coach could come in with a completely different game plan there in Stephen King and see what they can do. But I'd back in that, despite the fact that you've got that new coach coming in and things are going to be different, it's not what we can expect and predict. He should still be pretty bloody good.
Well, speaking about that, Warnie, with the Gold Coast, what were your thoughts on a few people have asked about Toot Miller and him being an option? So obviously Stewie G was saying that they played him forward. They liked him a bit more in that role. They didn't want to mess with that midfield mix. But now the fact that he's gone and Stephen King's there, do you expect Toot to just go back into the guts and be a good option for coaches to maybe jump on this week against the Saints?
Yeah, probably Monday I would have said no, but now I'd be warming to it. However, I'd still like to wait a week, I think, on it before you launched into him, just to see it. You probably want to see that. They have talked this week, King even mentioned about the managed minutes and stuff like that last week, which obviously resulted in that bit more forward time. But yeah, for me, I'd wait a week on Took.
Yeah. If it's the best you can get, I don't mind going. But yeah, you probably want to see a week first and see him actually get that bump in game time and have that role. Lockie has this one here. Bindi, thoughts on Taron Thomas?
I don't have any, I'm going to be honest with you. Not someone I've ever considered, but haven't considered at all this year. I haven't done any research on him, so I don't want to say yes or no either way. Perhaps Warnie can fill in for me here.
Yeah, no, I couldn't go there. Calvin thought about it, so that was enough for me to say no.
Yeah, it's a bit risky. That role is changing. He plays back, he plays forward, he plays midfield. So I wouldn't go there. I'd be I'd almost go Lions over Taron Thomas for a week play, and then you can jump off him next week. So,
hey, boys, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to jump in with one last thought on the Sicily Steele question. So I think a lot of us are going, we're saying, oh, Steele, here's the value option. And that's kind of true, but we just look at like break evens. James Sicily, he has a deceptively low break even. He's looking at about a 60 BE. So he could easily gain 50K this week. It's actually a lower break even than Steele. So yeah, there's a lot of value in both of them, I think.
Yeah. And we saw with Sick Dog, he got one to 60 and 130 in between the two suspensions. So that's obviously
a last 5 average of 120.
Yeah.
So
the biggest thing about Sick Dog that's a win is their fixture, their draw coming up is just super. So like I think that's where it's a pretty safe play as well. But I think it's that idea of the value is probably more about those dollars that I could be putting on someone's head next week. And
absolutely,
it's kind of like you're missing him. It's kind of I don't even want to call it taking on Sicily. You're just going, no, he's just not going to be in my team. So if you really want him, then you do need to launch this week. That's a big part of that.
Yeah. I will go to you again for this one, Morning, because Alec has asked, is Alex Witherden a bit silly? 705K for a defender. Obviously, Fantasy Ambassador, you boys spoke to him on the AFL Fantasy Live yesterday, and you were looking at him as an option before sort of the carnage all happened. But what are your thoughts about maybe coaches looking at him as a potential option?
Well, Witho himself on that live stream yesterday said, don't do it. So that's enough for me. I think, I couldn't really go into that. Just even some of the body language from him yesterday was quite interesting. I felt like he may have even missed the cut today, the way he was, but he's probably on a little bit of thin ice, because even talking to Scully today about it, he was basically saying it's almost a premiership backline that they've got there at the moment. So where does Witho fit in? If he doesn't have the right team game, if that's the right word to say, he could have a spell. So I couldn't do it at the end of the day. Now it was it looked all right as an option, but I think that with just all the little pieces of the puzzle for me now, I feel like it's not an option. You've got to be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, so you'd be going a Himmelberg if someone's looking for a defender. He's about 630 odd, I think.
Yeah, I think so, and that's it. And the reason is, like, I think that a Witherden could be better, but it just comes with those little risks. I don't think those are totally there with Himmelberg, despite I think it was a 75 last week that he scored. But those it was half a dozen, 4 free kicks or something he had against last week. You know, even the turnaround of 2 of those, that gets him into the mid 80s to 90, and you're thinking, yep, that's a change. So yeah, for me, I think I would be going Himmelberg over Witho if that was the choice.
Yeah, I would agree. I like this one. I like this one from Brendan. He said, thoughts on me smashing my computer due to having 4 on-field outs in this week's carnage? I'm leaning towards rage. So I know. Sorry, Brendan, mate. Unfortunately, a lot of people have been. I've seen people that have had 6 or 7. They've had like your Mitchells, with your Sarongs, and a Lloyd and a Young. So people are being hit from all directions, unfortunately, this week. Binny, there's one here from Berkey. Says, can you trade Sarong over Darcy Cameron if it means that you get someone you want, trying to remain aggressive and chasing points? So the difference would be, would you be going a Darcy Cameron to LDU, or would you be going a Sarong to Sicily?
Oh, it's a tough question. Very tough question. I think you want to keep Sarong. I think he's looking like a top 8 midfielder. Only going to be better with this week off. Darcy Cameron, he may or may not come back next week anyway. If he does, likely to at least be somewhat hampered by this injury that he'll probably be carrying, might be 10% below his best. I'd be really holding on to Sarong. I understand the need to go aggressive, but yeah, I think it could just burn you next week.
So you'd be doing the LDU move there. See, I'm probably going the other way. But listen to Bindi. He is up in the top 10. Actually, where are you back to you now? Where were you pre-round, Bindi?
Ranked 5.
Yeah, so definitely listen to Bindi over me. I'm ranked.
Honestly, though, there's a lot of luck involved. Like everyone here has a really good knowledge. I'm just one opinion. Definitely ask other people and yeah, go with your gut at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah. Warnie, any thoughts on what move you do there? Would you do the Cameron to Steele or Sarong to Sicily?
Yeah, it's Cameron to Steele, just injury versus suspension. That's the simple thing that I'd be doing, and the unknown of that. It was an interesting saga, I guess, yesterday with Cameron and how that all went down. But there's enough there to say he potentially doesn't play next week, so that's where I'd be going. And I'm okay with going with Jack Steele. I think that's the other side of me, that I'm very happy to be getting Jack Steele into my side and having Sarong, who could end up being slightly more unique next week, because a few might move him on. That's another win, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was actually LDU, was it? Or was it Steele?
Sorry, yeah, LDU. Sorry, apologies if I said Steele. Yeah, it was LDU. But still, I think it's, it's tough. I wish you could do both trades, but unfortunately you can't. So probably...
I'm not massive on LDU, but yeah, I'd still be going the Darcy Cameron out over Sarong. So I think that's my process anyway, I guess.
And I think you get points better longer term. So Brisbane Bloods has got one here. This is probably one that's probably a good one for Jeps. I know Jeps listing. Brisbane Bloods fancy says he has to field one of Banks and Long. Who would you field and why? So just sort of who would you pick, Bindi, out of those two?
It's a relevant question because I've got a similar dilemma. I'm deciding between Chesser and Banks. Look, I know Banks got a 39 last week, but I like the role playing on the halfback flank. VFL numbers are really, really good. And you look at last week, I think in the first half, he was maybe just a bit shell-shocked. He really seemed to settle in after that. I don't think a 60 plus is out of the equation this week. So I think I would be going a Banks. A little bit riskier, but probably where I'd go.
Yeah, I'd go Banks over Long as well. But it's a bit tougher with Chesser and Banks. Morning, what way would you be going, Banks or Long?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll get these wrong every single time, I guess. I was going to say, it is at the end of the round. Yeah, I'll go Banks, the Tassie boy. There you go. That's my answer.
Yeah. Perfect. Good.
That's just with purely no process on that one at all. There's not much going on with that thing because, yeah, it's just that's the toss of the coin. It's the rookie roulette that we talk about, and we're bloody still rookie rouletting it in round 18.
Yeah. Max says, can you tick off Sarong to Sicily? I can answer that and I'll say yes if he's the only sort of issue you've got, Max. I would be definitely ticking off Sarong to Sicily and chase the points for this week. Tom's got this question. Bindi says, Wanganeen Miller, so Withens, Zessel, Crossy, Matt. So just Wanganeen Miller, Walsh or LDU? Who are you going out of the three?
Oh, Wanganeen Miller for sure. Yeah, look, Walsh, Look, we've yet to see some big scores for a while, haven't we? I think he actually had quite a decent game last week and only got the 90. That was from 30 plus disposals. So he's out for me. And LDU, look, I think there's just a bit of risk there, re-injury perhaps, although we did look really good. Look, Wanganeen Miller, especially with the run coming up, I love it.
Yeah.
If you're watching his games, like that's the thing, he's hungry, and I know Doss is there listening. That's the thirsty boy that he is. I think that's where I'm going on that one there too. Is just that and the run, all of that sort of stuff adds up for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, after this week, like he plays Gold Coast away this week. After that, it's going to be smooth sailing, I think. But could be a little bit of a down week for him, but I think he's a great hold. So
yeah,
NWM for me.
I'm Wanganeen Miller as well. Jack's got this one, Warnie. So he says, would you go Tom Green and Darcy Cameron to Took and LDU? What are your thoughts?
Tom Green and Darcy Cameron. Yep, we're both out. Tick. So who was it? Sorry, LDU.
Took and LDU.
I don't love that. Yeah.
Would you rather maybe settle for maybe something a bit cheaper, like a Himmelberg or something like that, and then go a Took up in to like a Sicily instead? Would that be something that you'd prefer?
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know if Jack's got those players, but
it's tough. I'd like to just see some other options to see what they would look like. It's just I think Took and LDU can work, but I just don't love them. I think that's the other part of it. But then again, I've picked up Caleb Daniel, who I don't love. So don't listen much to my thoughts.
So one comment on Took Miller. Obviously, we know he's a gun, but one thing I like to do is to sort of mitigate risk. And one thing with Took is that he's got the break even of 131, right? So if you pick him this week and it's a bit of a bust, let's say he gets an 80, you're probably going to get the average score in your field, but lose about 30 grand worth of value straight away as well, just because of that high BE. So I prefer not to go for those players myself.
You can always get him another week. That's the thing with some of those ones, and that's why it might be finding that guy that at least if they did stink, it's not really going to cost you the coin either, because Took may not be a guy that could be there in round 24 for you as well. Like if he does do some of the games that he's had this year, like he's had a couple of average ones, like even that one prior to injury, which was the week that I bought him in that game that he got injured in, like he was, I'm going to say it was a 49. I can't remember exactly, but that was well into the third quarter.
He was tagging LDU that game.
And it was no good. I was sitting at York Park watching the Hawks in a game there, and I was just going, it's actually sitting with John Harmey doing that one, who's a very good coach. And went there, and I've had about 15 different things that have derailed my season, mostly all by my fault, but there have been a couple of things that have been just those unlucky ones, and that's why I probably don't have the trust in him as well. But the break-even thing, as Bindi said there, that's a perfect sort of way to decide between players as well. Like in a way, the break-even thing shouldn't matter if you think that Took Miller's going to be a dude that is going to be your midfielder for the next 7 weeks, and he's going to be scoring like that top end that you want him to be. But if it does become an 80, you're going to be wanting to trade him possibly out because you're going to be in that luxurious position to do that. The other thing, I think the Suns have changed a lot too. That's from his 120 year. I think that's a bit of a thing. You've got more growth in Anderson, and even Matt Rouse sort of finding it a little bit more at the moment as well.
Yeah, there was actually a good quote I did like from Stephen King yesterday, and he said about Took. He said Took got through the game on managed loads. He ticked every box. We were really happy with his output. Took can be unleashed at a more normal capacity as to what a midfielder would play at AFL level. So that is probably a good sort of little nugget there for potential midfield role. But we'll have to see how he goes anyway. Callum's got this question here. He says, Sarong to Sicily or go Green to Cogs? I can answer that for everyone. I'd be definitely going Tom Green to Cogs. Sarong's only out for the week, and you're getting Cogs, who's a very good option, and you're getting Green out. So I would prefer that one there, Callum. Then you've got this one here is from Dane. He for the U Warnies. Parish or Steele? What are your thoughts on Parish the pod?
I like Parish, and that's not just the red and black glasses that I've got on. I think that he would be a nice point of difference player to be rolling with. It's the sort of thing that is nice to do at this time of the year, and I'd like to back him in because he's, if we can talk about contract year and all that sort of stuff, now's the time to shine for a guy like that at the minute. But yeah, I don't mind that. However, I'll probably go back to what I've said before, is that the Jack Steele value is not a bad one, but if you were trying to chase something different, because a lot more people will be going that Steele option, I think that is certainly a play for. What is that looking like? Is that about 120k off the top of my head?
Yeah, about that, I think. I'll just have a quick look, actually. So Parrot...
802k versus 929.
Yeah, so you get 127k there.
Yep. No, yeah. Play it soft like me. It's Jack Steele. Hitting a 6, as Calvin might say. I reckon go with your Darcy Parish. And now's the time too. Like the banking cash stuff, it's a bit of a necessity for me of the way that I'm set up for this week. But I'm okay not banking cash unless you really have big holes to fix in the future. So spending your cash is absolutely fine for me at this point of the season if I had a good team.
Bindi, this one here, Gus Brayshaw or LDU, who are you going?
I don't love either of them. Probably LDU though.
Yeah, I'd probably go LDU as well. You want to see a little bit more from Gus Brayshaw, I think. He's got the Brisbane as well. It's not really an easy matchup there. Corey saying here, I'm in the boat where I'm looking at Brayshaw, vice captain into Dawson, as didn't put anyone from last night's game. Yeah, I like it. I don't mind that there, Corey. I'd probably go Taranto captain personally, but if you're hot on Dawson, then that is also a good shout. Brisbane Bloods Fantasy, Warnie's got this one. So which trade option should he go? So the first one, he's going Hayden Young and Darcy Cameron to James Sicily and LDU, which is fielding Noah Long. Or the second option is going Hayden Young and Darcy Cameron out again, but getting Wanganeen, Miller and Cornelio and fielding Banks.
Oh, I'd go that second option,
Yeah.
I think there's more points there in Wanganeen, Miller and Cogs and Banks and Long, you're tossing the coin. So I'm, definitely that second option. I better run, boys. I've got to go and get ready to get over to the Camfield. So anyone come along, see you there. I know Jeff is here listening. We'll see him tonight. I'm looking forward to actually having a beer with Jeff. It was a bit too under the pump last night properly.
Yeah.
So keen to get there, and we'll see you, Bales.
Perfect. No, yeah, I'll see you shortly, Warnie. Should be good night once again.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right,
thanks
guys.
Warnie.
Have fun. Good this
See you, mate.
The carnage hasn't smashed you too hard.
yeah.
Hopefully there's no more.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Fantasy gods are watching, though. We know that.
We don't want to test them anymore. So beautiful. Thanks, Warnie.
See you guys.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Warnie, for jumping on there and answering plenty of questions, which is great. Thanks for him for giving up some of his time with a busy schedule with the shows in Perth. Chris has got this one, Bindi. Steele or Parish for Sarong? So obviously we discussed that before. So you're going? Is it team dependent? This one, you sort of, if you need the cash, go Steele. If you want a pod, Parish.
Yeah, more or less. Just want to clarify though, like need the cash. It's an interesting term. Like I'd kind of think like, okay, what would happen next week if one of your premiums was suspended or a forced trade? Would that cash save you from having to like compromise on the other player you want to get that week? I don't have a problem with banking an extra 100k if it's going to give you safety next week, because we're going to see just more and more injuries, illness, suspension as the season goes on. I feel.
Yeah, I agree. We'll try and go through some rapid fire ones. I want to try and get to as many questions as possible, so I have to head off shortly to head to the Camfield. So got this one here from Connor Johns. He said, Wanganeen, Miller, Cornelio or Sicily. Who are you going there, Bindi, out of those three?
Without look, in terms of what I think they'll average, it's probably Coniglio, Wanganeen. Yeah, it's hard to say really without knowing about this person's team and what they could be doing with the spare cash.
Yes. I'd have definitely Sicily at the top, averaging the most. But again, if you need that little bit more cash, you could go a Cogs without. But then again, Cogs is still expensive. So they're all sort of different price brackets. You've got Sicily sort of in the mid 900s. You've got a Cornelio who's just around the 880, and then you've got Wayne Miller who's closer to that sort of 800 mark. So yeah, it's a tough one, but if you need points, I'm going Sicily. So we've got Dos on from Pod. Dos, mate, how are you?
Dossy.
Going on, boys. Sorry, I've got shitty headphones on. I've got a critical question for you lads. I haven't heard this guy's name being brought up enough
Brian
at
Myers.
all, and really enough. Not quite, but it is a Geelong player. Jack Bowes.
Yeah,
Low 400k. I see you bringing in Ivan Soldo, Bales. Look, Jackie Bowes, mate, is your man.
yeah, I no, and trust me, I would get Bowes over Soldo, but I actually need a forward because it's pretty much Winhager or Soldo on field for me, so I'll be looping Winhager, and I can't fit Bowes, unfortunately. But no, I actually don't mind the pick because I think a few people can actually, if they've got Sheldrick on the bench, can actually have Bowes as like a 23rd player in a great scenario. But Tim was talking about Bowes to me last night and saying that he was quite keen on him, but obviously with the Tom Green news coming out, he's not going there now. But I don't actually mind that play. Binny, what are your thoughts on a bit of Jack Bowes there for like 417k, which is pretty ridiculous because it's very, very cheap.
It's very, very cheap, isn't it? Just trying to find his heat map from last week.
So what did you get, like a 102 or something last week, or 101?
It was a 101 from 84% time and ground, 0.93 points per minute. Look, honestly, I'm really hesitant to influence someone's trade to make a call. I don't know what I'm talking about with this one. But look, after such a big score with a price that low, it's probably hard to go wrong. He's got such a small break even that even if it goes bad, you'll make a little bit of cash.
All right, guys. So let's talk Tom Cole. 23 points in 5% time on ground. No, look, it's good to see my boy Tommy Cole back. We don't have to talk about him, but I think his name needs to be out in the ether. Now, just to set the scene on my Jack Bowes trade, though, hopefully Holmesy's not listening in. If he is, I might have to not reveal, but I've got the big matchup this week, and I'm looking to bury him because we got a ton of strengths on the line for this one. Now, Holmesy's claiming that, I did say double or nothing, but I feel like the nothing still entails that he has to buy me a carton if I do prevail. Now, the trade scenario would be something like who am I trading out? So Darcy Cameron out, and unfortunately the GOAT, Fiorini, alas, he's found another coach that hates him more than Jew. We thought it wasn't possible. But Stephen King already in the bad books of Dossies. Look, it's bad signs for King lasting too long. So those two out, I want to bring in, I think, Sicily, and then the other person I can get is basically in that 400 to 500k bracket, just to set the scene. So I'm not throwing his name out there as an option for standard scenarios, but I think getting someone
I like that,
Sicily,
yeah. I like those moves.
Or Parrish is in there for me as well. I really love those two options. I think both of them are going to come firing home. Anyway, I'll just listen in because I'm walking and puffing and panting. So I'll leave
Giving
you
the
guys
hamstrings
to
a bit of a stretch there, Doss.
Correct. The usual.
The old
usual
Tommy
Friday
Green
night routine.
workout.
Yeah, usual Friday night routine. I'm waiting for my call up for the Div 12 Rezzies. Actually, I think they got the celebrity game coming up.
Yeah.
Might not qualify. I think you have to have like 100,000 TikTok followers to get in that one.
Hopefully you get in there, Doss. That'd be great to see. So we have got one. Harry Thomas has got, who do I get for Green? Dawson or Steele? For me, and it's probably going to be a lot of these things. It's team dependent, but hey, if you can get up to Dawson, you get Dawson because he's the number one defender, I think. But again, if you've got a rookie or something on field, or you've got some other issues, I think you save the cash and go Steele. Is that probably the same line of thinking there, Bindi?
Yeah, I need to know what the other trade is before really asserting one way or the other.
Yeah, that's right. Because if you're going like a rookie in Dawson, or if you can go Steele and a Himmelberg for instance, just off the top of my head, I'd rather
or a Bowes.
Yes,
or a
Bowes saying I'd rather do that because you're getting two better scorers on field. But yeah, for just getting the player, it is Dawson for me.
Yeah, overpriced though. Just want to put that out there. 1.07 mil is very high.
In my eyes, he's not overpriced because he's a great player. So, So we got Zach's got this one here. Trade in Steele and play Harvey on field, or go Cogs and play Wardlaw on field. Oh, that's a tough one.
Wait, how does
Yeah,
that
no,
work?
actually
must be to do with DPP positioning, right?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, because you got a forward and a mid and a mid. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, so it's is it Cogs and Wardlaw? They're probably going to score more.
If it's Cogs and Wardlaw, that's like a no-brainer in my eyes.
Yeah, I think it's Cogs and Wardlaw, and because obviously Simpkins out, Wardlaw's going to get more opportunity in the midfield. Yeah, you grab Cogs this week and you get Steele next week, and yeah, I don't know if I'd be comfortable. I know Harvey did really well last week, but he did take, what was it, 6, the second most contested marks on debut. If they're not there this week, who knows how he goes. But he does have the Hawks, so it could be interesting. But yeah, I'd go. But then again, yes,
Wardlaw's just had a week off as well.
Off, and also Wardlaw's got Hawthorn, so he could go quite well. And plus, Cogs has got no green as well, so that's going to be good for Cogs, I think. So I'd go Cogs and Wardlaw. Rodney Hewan, should I trade Day to Sicily, given the rumours of him being out, or go Darcy Cameron or Darsole to Butters or Rosie? Well, I would be definitely going Darcy Cameron to. I'd be going Rosie out of the two.
Yeah, look, these rumours around Day, I haven't seen any credible information about him being out. Like, we do know he tweaked the shoulder last week, but yeah, I saw some of the text messages, the text message screenshots going around today, and look, there's nothing. There's nothing to verify these, so don't make trades based on rumours.
Yeah.
Be my advice.
Yeah. Well, look, we had the Crows rumours things going around today, and obviously that was obviously fake. It's been credited from Aaron Bryant's from ABC. Actually asked the Crows and said about this, and yeah, it was all fake. So it's all good. So yeah, and I know Pete says all the time as well. Try and listen to like your trusted sources. Don't obviously go from sort of just random Twitter accounts and random people. Yeah. So.
And for what it's worth, I did message someone that went to training, and from all reports, they got through Hawk's last training session just fine.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we've got another special guest jumping on from the coaches panel. It's Rids. G'day, Rids. How you going, mate?
Hey, mate. What's going on?
Not much, mate. It's been a bit of carnage around this week.
Quiet day, really, isn't it?
Maybe how many bullets have you been hit with?
Oh, it doesn't matter anymore, does it? Like, really, it really just doesn't matter. You've either got 3 or 4 bullets, and you're probably looking at least a rookie or 2 on field, and not great ones, or you're going to eat donuts. So it just doesn't matter. Let's just move on. Let's not worry about this weekend, eh? Put a line through it now.
Yeah, just write the weekend off. I like that.
I just wanted to say something, though. Poor Matty Mottram. I mean, how many bullets can he have in a period of 3 or 4 weeks?
I know.
And, like, he just had so much. But, yeah, I just wanted to give a shout-out because I was chatting to him a bit earlier. So, yeah, I just wanted to call out that. And I tell you what, Dos, I'm on the Bose train as well, mate. If you still can get this. So I'm jumped on Bose this week. So that's how good we're going, yeah?
Yeah.
Love to hear that, Rids. Love to hear that. Good choice.
Yeah, your mate Louis was huge on it in the pre-season. You know that, eh? I was chatting to Louis just a bit earlier. So.
Oh, yeah. Bosey, I had him in my team already this year, and he popped his calf for me for what did he score, a 15 or something? So, but I know it was a 10. It was a 10, adjusted thanks to AFL Fantasy. But he was looking good, and I think he was actually versus Essendon last time. Started strong, and then he got 10 points in about 2 minutes and popped the calf. So hopefully that doesn't happen again this week for us, Rich.
Yeah, that's it, mate. So, but like, he's 400,000, so you're making quite a bit of coin out of a Sheldrick or something. So, so why not, yeah?
Yeah. I actually like the play as well. I just can't quite fit him in because I need a forward, unfortunately. But yeah, I like it.
Soldo, geez, Bales, what are you doing? I'm a Richmond guy, and Soldo. How can you watch that on a Sunday night?
I know. I don't feel great about it, but the fact that he's my 23rd player, and it's sort of like I get to loot Windhager first. If Windhager sort of goes crap and goes sub sort of 50 or 60, I won't worry about it. But if Winhay gets a 70 odd, then I just won't worry about it. I'll just back the cash for next week. But
just a quick one too. Have you had a look at George Hewitt? Can you squeeze him in at all?
No, I wanted him. I wanted him and Bose. I wanted every other option, but unfortunately, I've got no flexibility with my Sheldrick being locked in and Tom Green. I'd be having to bench a sort of a premium. So unfortunately, I can't fit any of those guys in. But I'd like to. Though. I don't mind you as an option as well for any of those coaches out there looking at a sub 500 player that we saw him go really well last year. So and Kennedy's out.
Adam Chera, not Adam Chera. What's his face is out as well. Kennedy. Yep. So I mean, why not? I mean, if we're going to have a punt on a 400,000, I'm going Bose. So who would have thought at the start of the week I was going to bring in Jack Bose? But anyways.
Yeah, who would have thought the start of the week I might be bringing in Soldo? So it's a bit like that. Yeah, it's been a tough week. But unfortunately, I've got to cut it there because I've got to head off to the Traders live show tonight. But as always, appreciate everyone listening over on YouTube and on the Twitter space. We had a fair few people tuning in today. And thanks, obviously, to Tim that jumped on before, my co-host. Thanks to Warren that jumped on. Thanks, Dos, for jumping on. Bindi, Ridge, thanks all to you guys for jumping on. Good luck for this carnage week. We're going to have some weird players scoring for us, but that's what fantasy does. It throws up some curveballs every now and again, and we've been hit with many curveballs. So have a good weekend, guys, and hopefully your team goes well. And we'll chat to you guys Sunday night post the round review. So thanks, guys, and I'll catch you guys soon. I'm out. Cheers.
All the best, everyone. Bye.